You know that person that acts like they're the king or they're the queen or they're the most amazing person that anyone has ever met? And that one tiny comment that literally sends them west. Do you know what I mean? That makes them totally freak out. It's insane, right? They build themselves up by tearing you down, and it feels absolutely awful. It feels horrible when someone does that. But here's the big lie. Here's the biggest lie, okay? It's all an illusion. It's all false. It's all a complete lie. Watch this video. There was this psychoanalyst called Heinz Kohut, and he came up with a very crazy idea that basically changes everything. He said that not all arrogance isn't strength, that basically it's a giant mask, a mask hiding a deep secret wound from their childhood. A wound created because they never got the empathy they needed, which left their sense of self totally fragile and broken. And so what happens, this emptiness creates a lifelong, desperate hunt for validation from other people, just so that they can feel like a whole person. And in this video, we're going to expose that hidden wound. Okay, I really, really want to talk about this. We are going to explore the real reason behind their confusing and their destructive behavior. And if you understand this, this will change everything. It will change the way that you see everything. Watch this video. My friends, thank you so much for... Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope that you're all doing really well. Thank you so much for joining me in this video to understand actually what is going on and why the narcissist behaves in such a way. Like why? You know, you've tried to love this person. You thought that by loving them a certain way would help, but it hasn't. And it's caused more anguish and you are upset. So in this video, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to highlight so much. I want to talk about this and explore this in so much more detail. The problem, the world is all about smoke and mirrors. Okay, so first, let's look at what you can actually see. So on the outside, these people look perfect. They're charming, they're successful. They act like they have more confidence than anyone else in the world. They surround themselves with signs of success. They act like they're an expert on literally everything. But you see, you get a little closer and you start to see the cracks. They all need praise all of the time. Their conversations are just monologues about their own wins, their own problems, their own life. It's like a bottomless pit of literally complaint. You can pour all of the praise in this world into all of these aspects, tell them they're amazing, tell them they're wonderful, but it's never enough. And that's because their self-esteem isn't generated from inside. It's 100% external. They need you to tell them that they're great all of the time. So when someone is like this, this makes them see other people as tools. You are useful to them. Do you make them look good? And psychoanalysts have a term for this. You become a self-object, just an extension of them, used to prop up their shaky self-worth. If you do that job well, they put you on a pedestal. You're the best person in the world. But the second that you fail to be that perfect mirror by having your own opinion or criticizing them even a little, bam, you're devalued. You become worthless to them. That's why you see the switch up in behavior all the time. So this insane switch is a defense mechanism called splitting. Okay, you're either all good or you're all bad. There's no in between. And when they feel attacked, they unleash what Heinz Kohut called narcissistic rage. I'm going to link all of the resources or the things that I've talked about in the description box below. This isn't just getting angry. This is an explosion of fury that comes from a place of deep shame. It's the rage of an animal backed into a corner because their entire sense of self feels like it's about to shatter. And living with this is emotionally draining. It's like you're walking on eggshells 24/7. Does this dizzy shift from being idolized to devalue sound familiar to you? Share your experience in the comments because you are definitely not alone in this. This crazy behavior is just a symptom of a much deeper problem. So in this part, I'm going to introduce the wound of Cahoot's deficit model. So you're probably thinking, how does this even happen? To understand it, we have to look at the theories. While Freud first brought up narcissism, another psychoanalyst called Heinz Cahoot came along in the 1970s and blew the doors off all of the old ideas. You see, earlier theorists like Otto Kernberg believed pathological narcissism came from a place of deep rage and envy, often from a cold or aggressive childhood. But you see, what Cahoot proposed, he proposed something totally different. He called it the deficit model. He argued that the problem wasn't what was present in childhood, like aggression, but what was missing, and that was all about empathy. So for example, imagine you get a massive cut, but it never heals, right? It's always sensitive and the slightest touch is agony. So Cahoot believed a narcissist was a psychological wound, exactly like that, a narcissistic injury from childhood when a parent failed to show them enough empathy. And according to Cahoot's theory, a kid needs 3 critical experiences from their parents to build a healthy self. The first one is called mirroring. When a parent looks up to you with delight, reflecting back that you are good, you are worthy, this builds self-esteem. Second, an idealized figure, the need to look up to a parent who seems strong and calm, which makes you feel safe. And third, this is called twinship, the simple feeling of belonging, of being like, you know how like other people want you, you belong to a family, you're a group, you know, like you're a pack. And this is echoed out a lot in nature, in other animal packs. This is really important, a sense of belonging. When these needs aren't met, the child's emotional growth just literally stops. And this is really sad because the self basically ends up fragmented, weak, and empty. You see, all of that arrogance, all of the showing off is just a desperate attempt to compensate what they've been missing all of their life, what's missing inside of them. They're trying to build their own parent and fill this massive hole that was created decades ago. And this can never be fixed. It cannot be healed because it wasn't healed in childhood. A childhood without mirrors. So let's zoom in on how this wound actually forms. It's insane when you think about it. A baby isn't born knowing who they are. They build their identity using their parents as a mirror. The baby smiles, the parent smiles back. The baby is upset, the parent comforts them. Through thousands of these tiny moments, the child learns you are real and your feelings matter. But what happens if that mirror is broken? What if the parent is emotionally unavailable, depressed, or a narcissist themselves? The kid looks into the mirror for validation and sees nothing. Or worse, they see only their parents' own distress or their own disappointment. And this message is brutal. It's completely brutal. Your feelings are wrong, you are the problem. That's what that child internalizes. So imagine going through life thinking that. And so to survive this emotional wasteland, the child has to invent a new self and bury their true self and create a false self, a perfect, shiny version they hope that people will finally love. And that is the birth of the grandiosity. It's not real confidence. It's a survival tactic to hide the real shame. It's a survival tactic to hide the real self that they believe is all about shame and that they're unacceptable. So that's where this grandiosity basically comes from. And you see, this is where the big psychoanalytic theories differ. You've got Kernberg believed that this grandiosity was a defense against a terrifying inner world that was filled with so much rage. But Cahoot saw it as more of a tragedy. He saw a developmentally stunned person, not an aggressive one. Their arrogance isn't just hiding rage. It's desperately trying to patch over a fragile and crumbling self. They spend the rest of their lives looking for someone else to be that perfect mirror, their parents that never were. And this is really sad. This is what they're looking for inside of you. So the narcissists in a world, what is it all about? What is it actually like inside a narcissist's head? You know, if you could peel back that arrogant mask, what would we find? I'll tell you something, it's not what you think. The number one feature is a massive sense of emptiness, a giant hollow void, because they had to disown their true self as a kid. They had no stable inner core. I'll probably tell you and I'll probably tell you what they do or what they own, not who they actually are. And covering up that emptiness is a ton of shame. The deep, gut-wrenching feeling that they are fundamentally flawed, and this is what they hide. This is what they don't want you to see. The grandiosity is just them running from that feeling 24/7. They have to be perfect and special because being average is terrifying and would force them to face the belief that they're worthless. And this is why they are so hypersensitive to criticism. A tiny comment that most people will probably ignore feels like a massive attack that would expose their entire lie. So to protect themselves, they use these intense defense mechanism. We already talk about splitting, seeing people as either all good or all bad. They also use projection. They can't handle their own feelings or being inadequate or envious. So what they do is they dump that all onto you. And suddenly you're the one who is jealous. You're the one who's... This let's pretend helps them to kind of think about that they are perfect and that somebody else is the issue. And so you see, their whole inner world is a roller coaster. One compliment makes them feel like a god. One tiny insult plunges them into rage and despair. They live at the complete mercy of the outside world because they have no internal gyroscope to keep them steady. It's really sad. It's really sad that this happens, but it's all a product of their childhood, of not getting their needs met. So my friends, if your mind is blown right now, and this is finally making sense of the chaos you've experienced, then destroy that like button and subscribe to the channel right now for more videos that break this stuff down. Basically, guys, your support literally makes these videos possible. So how does this wound manifest in adulthood? This messed up inner world spills into every single part of their adult life, especially relationships. They don't want a partner. They want a perfect mirror, a self-object to manage their self-esteem. This is why the beginning of the relationship is literally so intense. The love bombing phase. They shower you with praise and attention because in loving you, they're really just loving the perfect reflection of themselves that you provide. Like, I hope that makes sense.